Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Dimitra's Dishes. Today I'm going to teach you another recipe that's going to be part of my easy Thanksgiving menu that of course you can be served all year round anytime you're entertaining and throwing a nice dinner party. I'm going to show you how to make my Tiropita Strifti. Basically that is just a large cheese pie coil. Or spiral, whatever you want to call it. It's buttery, flaky, crisp phyllo that's filled with creamy ricotta and feta cheese, some nice herbs. It's a great example of how just a few simple ingredients, delicious ones, come together to create such a beautiful and impressive appetizer. Set this out with some olives and let your guests munch on this while you prepare the holiday table. Let's go over the ingredients so we can start. For the filling, we're going to need some olive oil, black pepper, some really good quality feta cheese, the best that you can find. Good quality ricotta cheese. You want to make sure you're using full fat and not low fat or skim. Some shredded parmesan cheese. If you can find kefalotiri, that would be great. 2 eggs and some fresh mint, but you can substitute dill if you'd like. And then we need some phyllo. I'm using country phyllo, which is thicker cut phyllo. It is the number 10 if you can find it at your store. Some melted butter, lots of melted butter, a little bit of salt, and some black sesame seeds for garnish. So I'm using a big pizza pan. This is also sometimes used to make big chocolate chip cookie cakes. If you cannot find one or if you do not own one, you don't have to go out and get one. You could definitely use a plain baking tray or a plain rectangular cookie tray and just make the coil a little bit smaller. You could even make 2 smaller spirals instead of a big spiral. Totally up to you. If you want to get this, I will leave the link in the description box where you can get it on Amazon. Otherwise, use whatever you have to make this delicious thing. Now, the oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We are going to start making the filling because it comes together very quickly. I'm going to begin by crumbling the feta cheese. I'm just going to mash it up using a fork. You can do it with your hands if you want to. Next, I'm going to add the ricotta cheese. Now, ricotta cheese is not traditionally Greek, and I do get a lot of questions anytime I'm using it in spinach pie or any other Greek pastry or Greek recipe. Mizithra is very common in Greek, and it is pretty similar to ricotta cheese. It's the closest that you can get if you're living in the States or maybe somewhere abroad where you cannot find very traditional Greek cheeses. So if you can find Mizithra, go ahead and use that instead of the ricotta cheese. You're going to be looking to use the sweet mizithra, not the sour one. Mix this all together. Add the shredded parmesan, and again, parmesan is not traditionally Greek, but it is very easy to find here. Kefalograviera is very traditional, and if you can get that good stuff, use that instead of the parmesan. I'm just going to mix this up. Some black pepper, and just a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Now I'm just going to finely chop this fresh mint. Mint and cheese is a classic Greek combination. Add it to the filling and give it another nice mix. Before we add the eggs in, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a taste and see if it needs a little bit more salt. It's perfect. I'm not going to add any more because the feta is so briny and salty. If yours needs a little bit more salt, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just going to add the 2 eggs to this now. I like to add them to the side of the bowl and kind of whisk them in so I don't have to dirty another bowl. And just like that, the filling is ready. So now it's time to assemble the spiral. So what we're going to do is open up a pack of phyllo. Make sure that you thaw it out in the refrigerator overnight. Then take it out and leave it on your countertop for a good 1 to 2 hours. You want to make sure it's at room temperature so that way the phyllo is very easy to work with. If it's still cold or slightly frozen, it's just going to tear up on you. You're going to get frustrated and you're going to have a big mess on your hands. Follow those simple tips and you will be good to go. So this is the number 10 phyllo. It's much thicker than the regular phyllo that's usually sold at the supermarket. The regular one is number 4. This one is number 10, so that's the one that you're going to want to look for. If you cannot find it, don't panic. You can definitely use the number 4 phyllo. You're just going to double the sheets, maybe even triple them, because you're going to see when you're rolling it up, if you're using the number 4, it's going to start to break because they're very thin and delicate and the filling is thick and heavy. So you're just going to want to butter in between 2 or 3 layers. Spread the filling out just the way we're going to do it right now and then roll it up and you'll be fine. I like this phyllo better because it's hardier, it's much closer to homemade phyllo, and it crisps up more in the oven. So if you can find it, use it. It's also labeled as country phyllo or thick phyllo. Look for that in the supermarket. A lot of times you can find it in restaurant supply stores. So we're going to begin by drizzling some butter all over the top 2/3 of the first sheet. And then we're going to take about a 1/4 cup of the cheese filling and just spread it across the bottom. And then we're just going to roll it up. And we're going to create a spiral by rolling it. The first roll might start to break. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. Place it on your baking tray that's lined with parchment paper. And we're just going to continue doing this until we run out of phyllo, except we're not going to create spirals now. We just need that first one to create that beginning shape. What we're going to do after that is we're just going to roll into a long cylinder, and then we're just going to wrap it around each layer as we go. Continue to butter each layer of phyllo and fill it with the cheese filling, but this time do not create the spirals or the coils. Just create the long cylinders, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we're just going to arrange each one around the spirals, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. And you could leave a tiny bit of room in between so the air circulates and crisps the layers up beautifully. Now brush butter all over the top of the spiral. And this part is optional. You can sprinkle a little tiny bit of salt over the top, or you can leave it out. And it's also optional if you wanted to. You can sprinkle some beautiful black sesame seeds on top. It's going to give it a beautiful decorative finish, and they taste wonderful too. My oven is preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna bake this until it's beautiful and golden and crisp. That's gonna take anywhere between 45 minutes and an hour. I will show you what it looks like as soon as it comes out. My Tiropita Strifti, my cheese and phyllo spiral, took exactly 45 minutes to bake in the oven. What you're looking for is for the phyllo to be beautifully golden and crisp. As soon as you see it looking golden and crisp all around, take it out and let it sit at room temperature so it can cool down a little bit, and then go ahead and serve it. You can serve this on a beautiful cutting board, or if you have or straight out of the oven just like this. Just try to pull out the parchment paper that's under it just to keep it looking nice and pretty. Serve this with some olives on the side, and really that is all you need. Your guests can munch on this while you set the dinner table. Let me take a bite. The phyllo is so crispy and nice. The filling is nice and creamy and so cheesy. I love all of that feta in there. I think you guys are definitely gonna love this one. You can make 2 if you want to. These freeze beautifully. I would freeze them before baking them, of course, and then just bake it straight out of the freezer, maybe an extra 15 or 20 minutes until it's beautifully golden, just like we said. Go on over to the website, dimitrasdishes.com, to download this ebook with the whole menu in it, from start to finish, with the game plan and more tips and tricks that I might have forgotten, so that way you can enjoy your Thanksgiving dinner as much as your guests. I will see you guys tomorrow with another recipe. Bye, guys.